Welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Becky and Anastasia. With me today, we have Nick
Hi.
and Brandon,
Hello.
and we are here to talk about games and things.
Games and things.
It also just so happens to be our 600th episode.
Holy fuck. That's
I
a
know.
lot.
That's
That
a
is a lot.
It's a
That's
lot
a-
of fucking episodes.
That's too much, man. Let's bring it back a bit.
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. So our plan is to talk about some of our favorite games, and Brandon will explain a little bit better. And
Oh, but you want me to explain the plan a little bit better?
yeah,
Explain the plot.
Oh shit, okay. So I came up with this idea. It's not specifically our favorite, all right?
Mhm.
And it's more of like the most influential games to us in general, like had some kind of something to do with our lives or something that meant a lot to us, which made us be like, yes, okay, that game changed me as a person. Or it was just important in some way to you.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily your favorite of all time, but something that is very important to you as a person. That's it.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so we should have lists of 10 things, but we didn't organize them in any order. They're
Nope.
just 10 important games.
Yeah, I got them not in order at all.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. Ready to get started?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Brandon, it's your idea. You get to start.
All right,
Nerd.
fine. Fuck it. I'll start it.
Yeah.
All right. So the damn, looking at all these, I'm like, which one do I want to talk about first?
Well, if they're not in order, just go from top to bottom.
Okay. All right. I'll just do this then.
Do a little Russian
First one,
roulette.
I'm looking at them. I'm like, most important, least important, whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I'll take this one out of the equation first and foremost because it kind of influenced all of us except Nick. I have Eternal Darkness on my list.
Oh. You know what's funny? Still haven't played it.
That's fine. Me and
I own it.
Mike, we are here because of this game specifically.
Yeah, and I won't lie, it's on my list too. So I mean,
I thought it might knock yours out too if I did that. So I was like, let me just go ahead and pick this one so we can
yeah, it
actually
makes sense. So I won't
continue
talk
our
about it again.
list. Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, this was a very important game to us. I played it many times. I really enjoyed it. I liked all of the themes of it and the just kind of the atmosphere that it brought with it and its unique sense of horror through its things like the sanity effects and whatnot. We did things like the sanity effects in our original podcast that we
Yeah.
did. We talked with the creators of this game.
Uh-huh.
And we even did their official podcast for a bit. So, like, yeah, this game's pretty important to us, obviously. And we started our original podcast because there was going to be a Kickstarter for it.
Mhm.
And we were very excited for it, which never came to fruition. But it is what it is, and that's a whole nother can of worms. But yeah, pretty crazy stuff. I don't think I would be here talking right now with you if it wasn't for this game. So that's why it's on my list.
No, I agree. Exactly. I mean, for me too, also, it was also an introduction to Lovecraftian horror and things like that for me as well. And I think it really just kind of was a good example of how games can kind of break that fourth wall. Which, granted, games have done it before, games have done that after, but this was a very unique take on it, which I think was very interesting. Yeah, there's lots of good. There's lots of important things in this game. I don't know, at least to me, historical stuff and all sorts of variety. But I did really enjoy the story. I really enjoyed the things that are there. I was kind of really hoping that maybe someday we'll see a re-release of it again the other day, but we'll see. I'm sure it will eventually. Yeah, that's also why it's on my list. Same reasons. So we would not be at episode 600 without that game.
True.
Yeah. All right, Nick, it's up to you.
So I threw it back a little bit and went to the first game that I ever played.
Okay.
It's not my favorite in the series, but it'll always have a special place in my heart because of what it kind of did for me overall. But Sonic 2 on the Sega Genesis.
That's a great game. I love that
First,
game.
Really good choice.
first game I ever played.
Mhm.
And what it basically did for me was kind of ignite my whole fascination with like retro stuff. because I remember growing up, like, I never owned a Sega Genesis. It was my cousin's Sega Genesis. And, like, later on in life, I was like, man, like, I really want to play that game. And I remember playing it, like, I had it on, like, I think I had it for, like, my click wheel iPod, and I was like, this ain't it. So, like, that delved into me collecting systems and, like, watching retro video game YouTubers, and basically, like, really jump-started this whole collecting thing for me. Also, mainly the reason I only... Like, out of all of my collection, my biggest part of my collection is Sega stuff. I own every Sega system. I own basically every, like... If it's the game that you want to play for that system, I basically own it. Maybe, say, for maybe one or two outliers. But that game is always going to be special to me. So, that's why I put it on my list.
Okay. Let's see. So... my next game on the list is Super Mario RPG.
Ooh.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I played it back when it originally came out. It was my first introduction to RPGs. I'm like 99.999% sure it was my actual first RPG. And it definitely came out at like an important time in my life. It was kind of like a big distractor for me, but really opened me up to the world of RPGs and just the different kind of things that can come with it. And I don't know, I really enjoy it. I played through this game a lot. It's one of my favorites. So, and also great music. And still always one of my favorites on that side of things as well. Yeah, that's kind of what well, I guess my second one on my list is. Do they're in no particular order.
Okay. I guess that's a good reason. I guess it's back to me then, right?
Without it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'm gonna go with the game that shaped my music taste, my, I don't know, dress styling, my just things I like in general, which is Jet Grind Radio, as it was called in the United States.
I was clocking that in my head the entire time.
It was coming. This game molded me, and I love this game so much. This game, when I was growing up, was actually the first time I heard literally fucking Dragula by Rob Zombie. So hearing that for the first time in this game, and then venturing out to find more music from the band was like kind of incredible. The whole themes of, like, you know, being a rebel, that sort of thing, against the man, that sort of deal. I love all of that shit in games. It's one of my favorite things, period. The way they dress, the way, like, the styling of, like, graffiti, all of that stuff just means a lot to me. I love it. It's some of my favorite shit. So, yeah, Jet Grind Radio. And I am saying Grind Radio and not Set Radio, because it was not named Jet Set Radio until it got remastered and brought to the States again with the sequel. Also, that was Jet Set Radio Future, but Jet Grind Radio was what it was originally called on the Dreamcast, and I kind of got the game on a whim just because I was like, I like Tony Hawk, and this is rollerblading, and I kind of like this, and ooh, graffiti, neat. And then little did I know how much that was going to shape me as a person. I fucking love Jet Grind Radio.
All right.
I believe it's Nick's turn. It is Nick's turn. It sure is.
So my next one did a little bit more in terms of, like, how I wanted to pick my career path, funny enough.
Ooh.
Need for Speed Underground 2.
Need for Speed Underground 2.
Again,
Goodness.
Not the best in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the one I have the most minutes in. I would have to venture a guess.
I don't know. I think it might be, in my opinion, the best in the series.
I like Most Wanted more. I like Most Wanted.
Oh, really? I think Underground 2 is one of the best.
But I always liked, like, so when I was growing up, I always knew I liked working with my hands and things like that. And I never really knew how to apply it. And then I forget how old I was when I first played the game. Probably too young to actually play the game. But kind of thrusting me into the thralls of just car modification culture and, like, getting myself familiar with all the different types of cars. And, like, I remember, like, that's where I found my love for, like, specific brands. Like, I love, like, the Nissan 240Z. That's a big car, or the 180, I think, also in that game as well. But like Subaru WRXs, things. I owned a WRX for a while because of these games. But it got me interested in like working on cars and kind of getting into all of that. So it was really big for me in that sort of a sense in finding myself.
Hell yeah.
Also, it's kind of like the same vein as you, Brandon. The music, like some of the music in that game isn't so much my style, but like that was the first time I heard Riders on the Storm, even though it was a Snoop Dogg remix. It was the first time I heard The Doors ever, and like threw me down that path of listening to music like that. So it shaped me in more ways than one.
I'm looking at the soundtrack now because I'm like actually curious what all the soundtrack was.
I think there's there's a couple other bangers on there. The Underground 2 soundtrack. There we go.
Oh, I'm already at that.
That's Underground 1. Underground 2. Oh, In My Head by Queens of the Stone Age is on there. One of my all-time favorite songs.
Holy
Love
shit.
that song.
Wait, is that the Black Betty?
Black Betty's on there. Rise Against is on there. There's a lot of
There's
bangers
a lot
on
of
there.
good shit in this. This
Yeah.
is really good. Yeah,
But,
this is
but
awesome.
it also has like Chingy, so it's not all bangers. You know what I mean? Like there's some stuff on there that you're like, ooh.
Oh, they got Mudvayne on here.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's not all good stuff, but the stuff that is good.
Oh no, Mudvayne's good. I won't hold that. Like, I'm not holding that against them. I like Mudvayne.
That's fair.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are good. These are really good. Oh shit, we got Exhibit. All right. Anyway, I really like this game as well.
All right.
That's tossing it over to Mike.
All right, my next one on my list, Mario Brothers 3.
Okay.
So this game, and I think it's hard to remember in this day and age, but it was like a phenomenon when it came out. It was like everywhere. TV, movies.
The Wizard.
Yeah, the
Let's go.
Wizard. Yep.
A little bit above
And this
my
really
pay grade.
was, and this was not my first Mario game, but this was really my first kind of like game that I got really sucked into. Because also the thing with Mario 3, especially kind of around the era that it came out, that was when everyone was like, kind of had like the playground secrets. Be like, oh, did you know you get warp whistle if you do this? Or I remember like I had babysitters at the time that were like showing me where like all the secrets were and like how to get through the game and things like that. I think the game's a masterpiece on its own. Like I think it's a phenomenal game, but definitely important to me for all the other aspects of it as well. It really just became kind of all encompassing in my life at that time, and it still is very important to me to this day. So, I think that's my next one. And definitely, I would say more so than Mario World. Mario World's important but different. So, and that was not on my list. Oh yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Very good.
All right, Brandon, back to you.
Back to me. Oh geez, Rick. You know what? I'm just gonna go with this one. So, I gotta lore dump first, right?
Oh shit.
Yeah, you're getting plot real quick. So, I was the kind of person when I was younger that would rent everything on the shelves from Blockbuster. Literally everything I could get my hand on. If it's something new and I ain't seen it yet, it's going in the cart. It's getting rented for a weekend. This caused me after I got my $600 fucking PlayStation 3 to rent because I bought it a few months after it released. Because I was one of those people. In fact, I went to a military base so that I could buy it without having to pay tax. And
Brandon stuck onto a government military base to try and get a PS3 without taxes.
I kinda, not even lying, I kinda did. I knew some people, but they weren't currently in the military anymore, so they just like took me along with them, and then I went to the mall and bought a PlayStation 3.
We got them, and then just people crashing through your windows right now.
Anyway, so I bought a PS3 and I played a lot of games on it when I first got it, and I continued playing a lot of games on PlayStation 3 throughout the years. And then there was one game that I rented from Blockbuster, and I probably returned it the quickest out of any game I have ever played in my life back to Blockbuster.
Uh-huh.
But it was also something very important because of what would come after it, and that game was Demon Souls. I randomly rented Demon Souls on a whim because I was like, "Oh, this looks cool." Looking at the like front cover art for that game, and I played it. And at the time, it was just really difficult for me. I did not get good, and get good wasn't even a phrase during that time. So I was just like, I got bodied. I played for like 3 days. I didn't even keep the full 7 days. I returned it on the 4th day. But after I returned it, I kept thinking to myself, I was like, man, I want to try to figure this shit out. I want to beat that. I want to go back and try it again. I want to do that. So I ended up renting it several more times after that, and I got really into the game. I never really got that far in it, but I learned a little bit more each time I rented it. And I really enjoyed my time with it, even though it was like very rudimentary. It was very much something that even at the time of the PlayStation 3, it felt like it was archaic in the way that it was designed. Like I'm playing Uncharted 2, Uncharted 1, this, that, and the other. At the time, those games still felt like they were big, huge, massive, like crazy things that you're experiencing for the first time. But this game felt like this should have been a PS2 game, but also it felt like it didn't bring over any of like the modern sensibilities of RPG games at the time. So I was like, what the fuck is this? But it just kind of stuck in my mind. And then several years down the road, I ended up picking up Dark Souls. And then, well, you guys know how much I love Souls-likes since then. So Demon Souls is the first game I played that was a Souls-like, and it was very important to me because it kind of got me addicted to them.
Yeah.
That's back to Nick now.
Okay. I was waiting for the baton pass.
The handoff.
Yeah, sorry. I'll always hand off to you.
You're good.
Right?
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I got you.
My next one, while it might not be a favorite of mine, I can't ignore what it's done for me. I couldn't, and I also couldn't pick one just in general because it's been multiple games. But just Super Smash Brothers in general.
Yeah.
So I know you guys know, but for people who are listening who don't know, for the past 5 years, I've been running along with my best friend Nick. Also funny, his name's also named Nick. Have been running Super Smash Brothers tournaments. Started with Wii U and then moved on to Ultimate, and that has kind of changed my life in a way that I never would have guessed. I've seen kids that started playing, grow up into adults now and like go off to college. I've met a lot of new friends just from people attending the tournaments. Got to do like a whole bunch of cool experiences, like putting on bigger tournaments at conventions. I met Anamanaguchi through running Smash Bros tournaments.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking nuts.
So while, like I said, the game itself might not be something that I enjoy playing all the time, it's definitely done some pretty wild things for me in terms of people I've met and experiences that I've had. And it's let me get closer to with like my friends, and it's become something that's so kind of ingrained to us now. Like this will always be a part of us. Also just the excitement of new character releases. I remember just when Smash Ultimate was still announcing its newer characters, like there was like a group chat with all of us, and there's a video that my friend sent me of him like live reacting to the Banjo announcement because Banjo-Kazooie is like his favorite game, and he was just going fucking bananas. So like just stuff like that I'll always hold just dear to me, even much after we're done doing these tournaments. If I ever finish, who knows? I'll probably be holding these things when I'm like 80. God willing. But
did you guys see Tekken 37? Holy shit!
But yeah, so Smash, like I said, for better or for worse, is just a big part of my life. So I figured that should make it on the list.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I All right. Well, in response to Nick's bullshit answer, I'm going to say Super Smash Brothers Melee is on my list. So apparently Nick can't figure out
Nick, you
one good
suck.
title from the series, but I will pick Melee because that was probably the
Only
most
one.
important of that series.
I'll write down specifically the 3DS version. How about that?
Fine. Enjoy. Yeah, no, Melee. I mean, I do like all the Smash Brothers games, but I think Melee, in terms of most important to me, that was probably the one. I was still the days before the internet proliferation for the consoles, and we spent a lot of. I don't even know if we knew all the unlockable characters when the game came out. Like, that's a fun mystery on its own.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So just going through it, unlocking them, and being surprised with what was coming up there. Also, too, for me, Smash Brothers is important for a lot of different reasons because it introduced me to a lot of series that I was not familiar with beforehand, which is a phenomenon that Nintendo's reported on for a long time. Has been a big way to introduce games to new players. So, and Melee was basically what helped influence bringing Fire Emblem over to the States, because this was really our first time with Marth and Roy, because we really did not have anything with them before this.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really exciting. But Melee also too, like Smash 64 was an important game. It wasn't necessarily, we talked about it I think last week, but it was an important game, but it does not, what's the word? Not maybe the best in the series. It really was just kind of a showcase for what a Nintendo fighting game could be. Melee was the realization of that. And I think they did an excellent job with it. And there's a reason why it's still probably the favorite of Smash Brothers players to this day, despite how many games came out after it for. So, yeah. So my answer is Melee. There we are. Back to you, Brandon.
Okay. Wow. Why did I say it like that? Okay. All right. Damn. I think I'm just gonna pick a easy one, right? Another side of my taste in music, which comes exclusively from video game music and not just my all taste in music, is going to be from this game and this series. But I'm going to pick the first game because I bought it randomly for $20 at a GameStop back when the GameStop used to be called EB Games, on a whim. No reason other than I had $20 in my pocket and it looked interesting. And that game is Katamari Damacy.
Oh wow.
I love this entire series, but the first game is going to be the one I choose because it's, like I said, I bought it on a whim. I had no idea what the fuck it was. It just looked pretty and colorful, and it was really fun, awesome. I love the music from Katamari. It's like comfort food, essentially. Katamari is my chill out game. I love playing it whenever I just need to sit back and chill or had a bad day or some shit. Katamari is like that for me, and it is a game that has always been there, whether it be through emulation, through the original PS2, the remakes that have been released on PS5 and PS4 and Switch and everywhere else. I mean, or the Xbox 360 version that I played to death, or the PlayStation 3 version of Katamari Forever that I played to death. But it all started with the original game somehow ending up at a GameStop for $20 on a shelf that I picked up on a whim. So Katamari is a very important series, and the first game is important because it kind of started finding out about that series.
Good choice.
All right. My turn?
Yeah.
So this next one, I guess will probably show my age a little bit in comparison to how young. Not want to say how young I am in comparison to the both of you, but the fact that I'm picking this one specifically, I think. But Halo 3.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. So
here's my question for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Go ahead.
Did you go down the rabbit hole of Halo 3 where you had to buy Crackdown to play the beta of it so you could get into it first day? Oh, I did that shit. I bought Crackdown just for Halo 3.
No. So here's the thing. I bought my 360 in the summer of 2008. So well after Halo had already launched.
Mm-hmm.
Because I borrowed, my friend would come over every weekend, would bring his 360 over, and we would just play it. So then, as a graduation gift, I got a 360 and a copy of Halo 3. I remember that because distinctly the choice was either that or Call of Duty 4, and I was like, "Fuck no, I want to play Halo." And I tell you, I was absorbed into that game. That was like for online like FPS games. I spent my summers playing that. Because I think that summer too I had gotten wisdom teeth surgery, and like back then it kind of put you down a bit longer than it does now. I think now it's kind of like you're in and you're out and you're good. But just nonstop, and like had my first introduction into like playing with a clan and doing like game battles, and that turned into me playing like Halo 3 ODST, which to this day is still one of my all-time favorite games.
ODST is incredible.
I love ODST. I wish we got another one. But I played that game so much so that it red ringed my Xbox. Because a lot of the modified levels where people were just like fucking splicing like objects in between each other, it just was not it just
you
was
mean
not...
on JTAG consoles where they did that shit?
Yeah, if you played it on a non-JTAG console, that shit was fucking your stuff up.
My buddy had it so when you charged the plasma pistol and fired it, it would shoot out 50 Banshees at once and crash everyone's game.
Love it.
He did that to troll everybody.
But yeah, I played that game to death. And I oh man, I miss those days. But yeah, absolutely love Halo 3. I fear we'll never get back to a time like that again, at least with that series.
Probably not.
But very fond memories of booting up the old reliable 360 and hopping onto some SWAT or some team deathmatch with the boys.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah.
All right. So my next game is gonna be it's an interesting one, but maybe not a surprise, but I don't know. I don't have the strongest reasons for it being on this list. It's a game I love and I come back to it repeatedly. Metroid Zero Mission. So
nice.
Yeah, if you've listened to the podcast for some time, you know this is a game that I play somewhat regularly, maybe like once a year. It was not my first Metroid game, and that's not. I think my first Metroid game was actually Fusion, but Metroid Zero Mission was my first Metroid game that I loved. Like I liked other ones that I had played. This one I actually loved. This one made me love the series. I think it's and especially after slugging through Metroid NES, like that game is just such rancid bullshit.
To this day. To this day has not gotten any better. And I think that this game might actually be like, if you have to hold up a game to show like how good remakes could be, I think this one should be one of the poster children. Because not only did it take everything that was what few things were good about original Metroid, but it took the things that were great with the series and put it in just like such a fun, playable package. And I also just love that it's like a nice, short, quick up play game. Like there's in this day and age, I mean, granted, I say this day and age, this game is probably like 20 years old at this point, but in this day and age, there's not a lot of games like that. So I love it. I think this is a great introduction to Samus overall, and her adventures. I think that this is a great way to get introduced to this genre of games, like the Metroidvanias, because I just think it's a very easily approachable game. But as I said, it's also just, I think it's really just fun and just very replayable. So Metroid Zero Mission, that's on my list. Nice.
All right, Brandon, back to you.
All right. I'm going to go with another one that's pretty safe. You guys already know this. It's going to be Counter-Strike Global Offensive, CSGO as it's called. This game, well, I have 7,000 plus hours in it, so there's that. Essentially, this game was the first game that really it wasn't the first game that made me play competitively, It was the first game that made me play competitively on PC, and we'll get to the other one later. But this game was very important to me. I played Counter-Strike Source as well as 1.6. 1.6, I was a little too old when I first played it, so I didn't really get it. But Source, I really enjoyed. I was very excited for CS:GO, and my buddy at the time, who was a Steam trader, he was like a middleman back when that was a thing you could do, where you would trade games in between people, and you'd have a guy that had the most Trustpilot ratings, so that you would know, hey, this man is safe to give your games to trade to somebody else, so that you don't get scammed out of trading games between people. This was a whole nother day and a whole nother time back when Steam was the Wild West, and people would buy games in certain currencies and trade them in a different one. That way they could get games for cheaper and this, that, and the other, and some people made a decent chunk of money off of that, and my friend at the time did do that, and I'm not going to mention their name because they're not my friend anymore. But what they did do was they gave me access to Counter-Strike Global Offensive before it released, and we did a 24-hour straight marathon of the beta of Counter-Strike Go. My other friend, Killer GP, who I've been friends with for a very, very long time, we'll get back to him later as well, he took it upon himself to then mod the beta and add in more stages than what we were supposed to have. So we had like the biggest stream for Counter-Strike Go when it first was in beta format, and you could stream it on Justin TV and Twitch and stuff like that. And we were streaming it on there, and we had like one of the bigger streams of it going because we had maps that no one else had, and we had his injected maps from Counter-Strike Source that he brought over from his Game Banana account and all his mods and shit that he had and whatnot. And I still have screenshots of it and whatnot. But it was a fucking fantastic time. And then this game showed me PC video game gambling for the first time. It showed me what loot boxes were for the first time. It showed me all of this crazy shit for the first time, and I was just like kind of amazed by it. And seeing the marketplace and actually playing the marketplace several times and getting a lot of free games and other things by doing so, it was all crazy. It was very interesting. But more than that, I started eventually like forming a lot of friendships and things through this game, and I would get like full teams together to play at night. I literally have a team right now. Every single night that we're online, we have like our own little group chat, and we'll get on, we'll have 5 people. We have 5 people. We all have the same skin. We all go in there and we all are communicating on chat. We're making call outs. And when I played this game, I learned all the call outs, and I learned how to throw some nades, and things changed over time and stuff like that happened and whatnot. But this is one of the first like tactical shooters aside from Rainbow Six 3 and to a lesser extent Rainbow Six Vegas that I played, but this is the one that like really sunk its teeth into me, and I put so many hours into this game, and it does mean a shit ton to me. I have so many moments. I remember when my friend decided to throw up a stream, and he spent $1,400 in one night just opening up cases, and then he got an item worth 10 grand. Shit was insane. We were going crazy when that shit happened. I remember when I was given 3 knives by someone, and I was like, what the fuck? And like they did it for me, and they said, you keep one, sell the other 2, and buy everyone Christmas gifts. And I did that, and that's how I funded Christmas for 1 year and everything. It was crazy, the amount of like friendships and just random shit that happened just from playing CS:GO. And also the game itself is something that really like sticks in my mind. I remember like all the maps. I remember like the guns, the prices for individual things, how much money you would get. And I saw things change over time. It was one of the first games I really definitely remember like big changes. And like I saw the memes in the community when it happened. Like there was a point where we had a revolver that was introduced to the game for the first time, but they didn't balance it in any way, shape, or form. So it was the only gun everyone was using because you could shoot through one person and kill the other 4 that are behind them with 1 bullet. So then people started memeing like it was fucking Overwatch and being like, it's high noon, and then fucking unloading on people with the revolver and shit like that. I've seen the actual like the competitive tournaments. I've watched them. I've seen people bet on them. I've seen the winners. I've watched the majors. I've watched all this stuff, and this was like the first game that really made me like follow more of the players than specifically the game, because all the players in the CS community, a lot of them are characters in and of themselves, and they kind of have their own stories that are formed based around their own character, and there's some crazy shit that's gone down. I've seen the people that that cheated and had a notepad.exe that they ran to fucking add aim hacks into the game in a public major that was on a massive screen that had hundreds of thousands of people watching at once. And I've seen all that shit happen in real time, and it was fucking cool as shit to like experience all of that through this one game, because there's so many stories that I could tell just from this singular game. And I continue to play its new iteration, which is CS2 now, and they replace CSGO with CS2. So I kind of miss CSGO in some sense, but things have to evolve and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. But I still, like, CSGO was most important out of the entire CS series for me personally. There you go. Pull bow on that one.
Okay. Nick?
So my next one is another game that I played the absolute bullshit out of, and I played it with my friend a lot because he had more access to funds than me to buy the many DLC we needed for it.
Mm-hmm.
Rock Band 2.
Oh, yeah, nice choice.
My first rhythm game, my first foray into them, and my addiction has not stopped. It's blossomed into now me playing a lot of Japanese rhythm games. Literally, when I go to MagFest or when I go to Round 1, all I do is play some sort of...
I played a new Japanese rhythm game at Round 1 when I went the other day.
Was it the drum one?
No, it was the one where there's like a circle and you touch your hands on the outside of the screen, and like you have to like move your hands throughout the entire circle. Yeah,
Waka?
and then like Waka. I played Waka. It was fun as hell, dude. That was a really good game. Yeah, that was fun.
If I'm correct, which I think I am, I believe at least my Waka machines has music from Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic
That's cool.
Colors, and I also want to say one of the storybook games, but fuck those games, they suck.
I played Rune Factory music for Katie because it was her birthday and she likes Rune Factory.
But no, so my friend bought a shit ton of music packs for Rock Band. We played Rock Band 2, Rock Band. I mean, it was kind of weird how they did these at the time, because you can, I guess, kind of consider them like standalone DLCs. I don't know, like the Rock
you could buy
Band
expansions. Like you could buy. I own all of them, so I know exactly
like
what
Rock
you're
Band,
talking about.
the Beatles, Rock Band. I think Guitar Hero Metallica. That was that one. But like there was like different Rock Band.
There was Rock Band Beatles, Lego Rock Band.
Yes.
There was a Rock Band AC/DC and a Rock Band country music pack. There was a Rock Band Green Day. I'm trying to remember all of them because I bought all of them.
Yeah.
Hey, Lego Rock Band? I can't remember.
Yeah, Lego Rock Band. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah, we played the bullshit out of this, and again, this is another game that really fueled, like, if Underground 2 kind of started my expansion into different music genres, Rock Band 2 like was dumping gasoline on that fire. I found a lot of bands that I listen to now through just playing different songs through Rock Band. That Handsome Devil is one of the ones that stick out to me, like immediately. But the hours that we spent on that game.
I wonder how many hours I have in Rock Band. Can I look that up?
The money that my friend spent on that game, honestly.
Bro, the amount of money I spent on that shit, I spent so much. I bought literally all the packs as they came out.
Yeah.
Like, I spent thousands of dollars on that game.
I want to say, is that right? I don't think they're my introduction to Muse. It might have intersected. I don't know. Maybe. But I've had some of the most fun times playing that game, either playing guitar or drums. I would never sing. I don't do that. But like that's always a game that if I go somewhere, like if I go to my friend's house for a party, like, yeah, you want to play some rock? Fuck yeah.
I'm already there. I've already said yes.
I'm there.
How do you feel about Fortnite Rock Band? And did you see the new leak?
Fortnite Fortnite Festival is cool. The songs are overpriced. Stop charging $5 a song. That's way too much.
Did you see the
that's
new leak?
ludicrous.
I did not.
New leak is split screen multiplayer for Fortnite Festival with every
cool.
instrument.
What I need them to split is the price of those songs. Put them back down to $250. Let's not be ridiculous here.
Yeah.
Please.
I definitely haven't
I
bought
will
like
buy
70 songs already.
if they were like, hey, these songs are $250, but you can only use them in festival. Cool, no problem. I'll take it.
Mhm.
That's fine with me. It's way too much money. I think this past weekend the songs were all like every song.
All
was
of them
free.
were free. Yep, every
So
single one of them.
I took advantage of that because I was like, I'll play some songs. But yeah,
Just play the
absolutely.
rotation songs weekly. See what they
Yeah.
got for rotation. That's what I do. But I buy things like, for instance, the Freerun theme was in. I was like, yes, please.
But I want to say over our years we've broken at least a couple of bass pedals for the drum set, just snapping them in half at the corner. Couple of guitars went bad. Just playing the ever-loving bullshit out of those games. I absolutely love Rock. Specifically, Rock Band 2 is my favorite.
Yeah. I'm trying to find my hours in Rock Band, but I can't find it on the Xbox app. It won't show me Xbox 360 games.
Yeah, that's definitely a game that deserved to be on this list. Because I'm like, again, when we were like, you told us about this, I was like, let me think about like not necessarily like Rock Band 2 is definitely one of my favorite games, but I also think about like what's some of the games that like really I like. No matter what I'm doing, I'm playing it. So that's for sure one of them.
Yeah, that's a great choice. I mean, really, I could have put it on my list for similar reasons too. Yeah, just so many good memories with people hanging out and everything. And it was also a big introduction to a lot of classic songs for me as well. I know you mentioned that with your Need for Speed, but Rock Band was a huge one for me for that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is it Mike's turn?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I put Rhythm Heaven into this spot. So
nice.
Yeah.
Looks like we're all talking about rhythm games for this this go around.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember this came first for me or Rock Band, but definitely was one of my important, rhythm games for video games. Absolutely. And I think too, it really kind of it definitely was my first one that was not like your normal kind of music stuff. It would have been my dad, not like licensed songs. Like it really was just kind of more things that were unique to it. Rhythm Heaven, I another reason I really enjoyed it was because it kind of took, and not always, but sometimes situations that were just kind of normal in real life and kind of applied music to them and kind of, I don't know, had you kind of look for the music, it kind of, and your day-to-day things. So I it's kind of always a thing that I take with me, but there's lots of things that I like about this game. I just find it to be very what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like one of my go-to like series, just because a lot of them are just even though they can be stressful, just kind of very relaxing, just to kind of let the music take you and just kind of enjoy kind of what's going on there in that whole presentation. It's also a game series too where I've always been like, well, if I ever start to lose like get arthritis or whatever and can't really play games, there's kind of like lots of options to play this, or if I go blind, it's kind of not there's still ways to play it. It kind of shows that there are definitely a lot of the Rhythm Heaven games can probably be played without the visuals, and I think that makes them interesting. So,
yes.
And a lot of them are just depending on the game. A lot of them are just very simple, like hit the button with the the music to for the event kind of thing. But as the songs, it gets a lot easier. So, I really enjoy it. I think the newer ones are really good. I think Megamix is the newest version that's on there. It includes a lot of the classic games on there, so it's kind of replaced the original for me in terms of necessity. But yeah, no, it's a great game, great franchise, and like I said, for me, it was just a fun rhythm game, and it's really done well. Like I've played similar style rhythm games before, and this one just hits the right notes, pun intended, I suppose, for a bunch of different reasons. So yeah, that's it. All right, Brandon, back to you.
Yeah, let's hop over to more rhythm stuff.
Okay.
So I picked Rock Band, the original.
Okay.
And there's a good reason for this. This was like my introduction and how I met a lot of people in college was playing the original Rock Band game. I ended up forming like a Rock Band band. We also started like Rock Band nights where we would pull out like a projector screen. We would set it up in the student lounge, and then we'd have a bunch of people come through, and we'd all play, vocals, drums, guitar, all of it, and whatnot. And I met a lot of friends through doing this. And I had a lot of really interesting experiences also through doing this. And I'm not going into this, but that lore dump has to stay hidden. But yeah, I ended up playing it at a place called Play and Trade here in town. Yeah, there's a place called Play and Trade here in town. And one of the friends that worked there told me, hey, we're going to actually have a Rock Band tournament. And I went. And I went with my normal group that would play at the student lounge with me when we had like 40, 50 people coming in and out just playing and everything. But like there was a band, like quite literally a band that was formed where it's like, you're best on drums, I'm best on guitar, this person's best on this, and blah, 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 blah. And we all played. And we won the tournament, Rock Band. And with that band, I actually won a full band in the box of Rock Band 2. From that tournament. And then, obviously I went into Rock Band 2 as well, but Rock Band 1 was the one that like first ignited that whole using rhythm games and music games as a way to like come out of your shell, first time in college, this sort of thing. But it was really easy to get people, new people, older people, myself as well, to be able to just like become more open and hang out and chill by having Rock Band kind of like bridge that sort of gap and everything. So we'd have all sorts of different kinds of music choices from people. Eventually it would become where people would literally come up and be like, here's my card, will you buy me this song? And then we would buy it so that we could play it that night at the like Rock Band night that we had and whatnot. It was incredible, the amount of friends I made by just setting up like a Rock Band night every like week and whatnot. And it was a blast, and it led to a lot of other things. And it really helped myself and many, many others like become less shy about things and, branch out and form like friend groups and everything and whatnot. And it was cool. It was really cool. Rock Band started that whole thing.
Okay.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll pass that over to Nick now. Sorry, I forgot to pass the baton. I gotta pass it to you whenever I'm done.
Let me make sure. I don't even want to talk over you.
Yeah, you're good.
My next one is, to my memory, the first RPG I've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
And it also it's a game that both me and my brother bonded over. Because I remember him playing this game a lot growing up, and then like I wanted to play it. Final Fantasy IV.
Okay.
Probably one of my favorite Final Fantasies still to this day. Mostly for the music. The music's very good in it. It made me fall in love with Dragoons too. I still love Dragoons as a class. But in terms of like just the relationship between me and my brother, like me and him would always talk about this game, and like if I was like having an issue with something, or if there was a part that I was stuck in, like I would talk to him about it, and he would just tell me all the different times that he had like struggles in this game too. So it was kind of like a bonding thing between us two, which I'll always fondly remember. I still have the original copy that he played growing up. It's in my collection right now. And once I get my game room all set up, I'll probably play it again, because something about me is, while there's many, many, many ways to play older games, I will always be the type of person who I want to play it the original system, original everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Final Fantasy IV for sure for me is it's up there for me, and it just in that kind of a kind of an aspect.
Cool.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My next game is Pokemon Blue. So, Pokemon also a big craze back when it came out, as you may know. And that shit was everywhere. Well, I mean, it's gonna sound just starting out like my Mario Brothers 3 thing. It's like it was on the TV and it was in the movies and it was all
Do you
over
remember?
the
Do you
place.
remember what was first though?
In terms of what became popular first?
Like what was Like did the games come first? Did the cards come first? Did the TV show come first?
I don't remember for the U.S. And honestly, like at least to me, kind of how
I
it
knew it was the
looked.
game.
It probably was, yeah.
Brandon's like, I do, stupid. It was
No,
like
it should be. But I would say I think the hype started before they even got here. Because I kind of remember just hearing like, oh man, there's these hot new games in Japan that are going crazy, and then they're coming out here, and I don't even know if we really even knew. I don't even remember how I ended up getting them. I don't think it was
Yeah.
Nintendo Power. I think one of my friends ended up having it, and I was like, that's really cool. And then I think I ended up getting it because of that. And yeah, then kind of got sucked into it all, and me and my friends ended up, trading back and forth and working to complete our Pokedexes, and yeah, it was a very kind of like obsessive time to kind of go through it and do everything. And obviously, this was still kind of RPG too, so another big kind of reinforcement of RPGs for me. This was post Mario RPG for me, but yeah, no, it definitely was like everything. Like you were always going through and trying to get better teams, and Pokemon was legitimately broken first gen. Pretty much if you had Mewtwo, like it just brought everything to a screeching halt because it really was not any way to counter some of those stronger Pokemon at that time. Things have changed quite a lot since then, and it is because of this game. So important for the series, important for the industry, and important for me. So definitely really kind of started off new thing, because as you guys know, I talk about Pokemon probably way too much anyways, and this is the reason why. So thanks, Pokemon Blue. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Brandon, back to you.
Okay. My next one, and now I'm going into the. Well, I'm not going into the obscure territory, but that's next. I'll be going into that next. A Halo 2. It's Halo 2.
Mhm.
It's Halo 2. You had Halo 3, I had Halo 2. This was actually the first time I competed competitively in any game whatsoever. Halo 2, I played in MLG. I played in.
Oh yeah, you did.
I played in a group known as Oni, which actually, became kind of popular during the time. And I had a blast. I got really into the competitive scene of Halo 2. All the fucking montages and the super bounces and all the crazy shit that came with Halo 2.
Brandon's house was filled with Breaking Benjamin and Mountain Dew.
Brother, you don't know the half of it. What was it? Oh god, what was the red one called?
Code Red.
No. Code Red is the one that continued. There was a red drink that was Halo theme that existed for a little while. Yeah, was that
Yeah,
it?
it would have been
Halo
Game
2.
They had two different kind of game fuels, if I remember, a red one and a blue
I think
one.
it was Game Fuel. Yeah, it was
But
Game Fuel.
I think Code Red existed before that, though.
It did, but Game
Just so
Fuel
I
is a
can
different
help you out,
flavor.
Brandon.
Yeah.
No, it was a different flavor. But I
original-
thought you said continued after, so yeah.
Original Citrus Cherry Game Fuel is currently out right now. You can
Excuse
drink
me?
it. You can drink it.
Where? How can I get this right now? I want this.
You go to store.
All right,
And you
cool.
walk into store and say, please give me the Mountain Dew that has World of Warcraft on it. And they would say, would you like the
Oh.
purple or the orange one? And you'd say, I would like the orange one, please, sir. And they would say, yes, right this way.
All right then. Nice to know. Anyway, yeah, I played a lot of this game. Like this was pretty much every day after school, not after school. Yeah, after I got out of school altogether, I played the fuck out of Halo 2 and Halo 3. But Halo 2 was the one that was the most important, I think, because it made me start playing games competitively. It also made me find out what competitive gaming was in the first place. And I followed everything from Red versus Blue to fucking
Rooster
god,
Teeth, just Rooster Teeth in general.
Rooster Teeth in general. But there was another one. It was something in the Chief.
Arby and the Chief, baby!
Arby and the Chief, baby, let's go. That's the one. Yeah, I did I played the game on Legendary with a bunch of friends. We did the I still have a picture somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but I still have a picture somewhere where there were 2 rooms. I was living in this apartment complex. One was my brother's room, and the other one was my room. And we had a LAN cable reaching to his room, and we had 2 of my friends in his room, and 2 of my friends in my room, and then we had people in the living room, and we just had like full on Halo party. Everyone was playing Halo 2. It was awesome. Because that was like the best way to play Halo 2, because that was back when Halo was still like a experience. Like you go somewhere and play it. Like, yeah, you had Xbox Live and you were first starting with Xbox Live and whatnot, but like the experience of still playing Halo 2 split screen with players was like second to none. It was so much fun. Yeah, I loved that game. I loved that game so fucking much. Played all the DLC, played the entire game, played it competitively. I would go to people's houses. I met someone through Halo 2 and then went to their house. That was an interesting experience. Mostly because, like, you know, due to like the online and ping and everything, they were like in the exact same place as me. Turns out they were in the same school as me, and I met them, and then I went to their house, and then we played Halo 2 more, and then that's how I ended up becoming joining MLG, was through them. Yeah. Halo 2 is very, very important to me for a lot of reasons, but it's also just a great fucking game.
Okay.
Nice.
That is going to be it for me. I'm going to pass it over to Nick. I
Okay.
was taking a sip of drink. My bad.
You're fine. This next game on my list it fucks. Quite frankly,
Okay.
it fucks.
Okay.
And honestly, you could say it sucks. Kirby Air Ride.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Kirby Air Ride, love it. This game on my GameCube probably clocked the most hours. Over Sonic Adventure 2, over any Pikmin or Metroid or even Smash. I got autistic with this game. So I don't know if you remember, but for each mode there was like this square grid, right? And you would have to fill the grid out by like doing like random things. And I want to say the grid had to be at least 100 different like tasks to do, maybe more. Let me see if I can like look it up exactly. Grid, not gritty. I don't want to try to see Kirby hit the gritty. There we go. All right, so each one had 120, and doing those things would like unlock different characters and different air ride machines and stuff for you. And when I say I never stopped playing this game, I would come home, turn this bitch on, city trial it up for like 5 hours, and I to this day am obsessed with this game. I do still own it. It's still in my collection. I've been tempted because there's a online competitive league for Kirby Air Ride.
What the fuck?
Coming out of retirement, so to speak.
Hey yo!
To try and play it. But this is a game that I will always be obsessed with. And it's not funny enough, not my favorite Kirby game. That will always be Nightmare in Dreamland. But Kirby Air Ride, just for me, it just holds such a special place in my heart. And it just it's so special. It's so good. It's so good. But if you've played that, you know that already. Because anybody who ever talked about Kirby Air Ride, we're like, yeah, man, that game fucks. And I'm like, yes, it does. It definitely fucks. But I think also that might have been my first introduction to Kirby. No, that's wrong. Because me and my brother would play Dream Course all the time. But this might have been the first Kirby game that I physically bought with my own money, because the GameCube was the first system I physically bought with my own money.
Mm-hmm.
But like this to me like was one of those first games that I was like scouring like fucking Neo Seeker forums for like secret stuff and how to like drop rates for a specific air ride machine, because there's 2 legendary air ride machines that you could build, and I was like, all right, well, what I gotta do to get these things, and all like the secret stuff that you could delve into, and like I got really, really deep into the trenches of this game. So one of my just all-time special near and dear games to my heart. But yeah, Mike.
All right, my next one is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. That's what I went to go with. So one of my favorite Zelda games, but I also really enjoyed this game. was not your normal Zelda game. So I mean, it still had dungeons and things like that, but really it was kind of like it's a big game of side quests, pretty much. So and a lot of these side quests, I think the thing that's interesting about this game is just the way that it approaches kind of like death and end of the world and some darker adult themes. Really just kind of make you think. I think if you really kind of take the time to sit and think about what the game's telling you. I think that this is a very interesting game for a lot of reasons. I think it's a very interesting game mechanically for a lot of reasons, especially with kind of the mask mechanics that are going on there. But it's very unique, and I think that even comparatively to other Zelda games, there's really not much that really falls within that same kind of realm there. So I think that it's important for that reason, those reasons, but also really kind of, like I said, enjoyed kind of the thought-provoking aspects of this game as well. So I do deeply appreciate this game. It's one of my favorites for a lot of different reasons, but those are kind of one of the big ones. So you really didn't see a lot of games, definitely on the N64, that kind of like approached those kind of topics in that way. So yeah, very interesting. That's all. Brandon?
All right, onwards to the next one. This one might be perhaps one of the most important things to me ever. So when I first got an original Xbox, I got Xbox Live, and obviously the first game I played was the one that came with the original Xbox, which was Megasalt. That's not the game I'm here to talk about, because the game I actually played more that I got alongside that game was Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow. In this game, I met one of my best friends who I have known now since they were 17, and since I was like, no, they were 16 or 15, and I was like 12. I know, crazy. And they're in their late 30s now, and I am, mid. So it's kind of crazy now because I've known them this entire fucking time. But not only that, I mentioned earlier about my CSGO team that I play with nightly. I'm a second person also in Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow. And I have known them ever since the release of Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow. I've known two people since the release of Pandora Tomorrow. The whole time. Now, I've never met them in real life. I've known them online. They've been some of my best friends of all times. They are very special people to me, and they mean a lot to me. And if it wasn't for this game, I never would have met these two. One of them is called Daniel, and the other one is called Michael. And I met both of them playing this game. And we were all of varying ages when we played this. And we all became really good friends and continued playing games into the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One and to PC and, all this other stuff. And we've continued playing all sorts of different games and talking with each other literally since Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow when we first met each other. And I've seen them grow up. I've seen them deal with some hard shit. I just saw one of them recently get married. He saw me get married. I mean, it's crazy the amount of shit that I've gone through after meeting these two people and knowing for them for as long as I have, all because of this one single fucking game, which was surprisingly made by Ubisoft back when they still made good games. But yeah, aside from that, one of them just messaged me. He said, I seek redemption. I did shit last night in CS. We got to bring it back, boys. Literally, that is how important this game was to me. This man messages me in the middle of the day randomly saying, let's play CS tonight. And I've known him since the release of Splinter Cell fucking Pandora Tomorrow. Yeah, I talked to him about a lot of things, but besides all of that, which is the very important part of this entire conversation, the game was it as Nick said, the game fucks. It's awesome. The original single player game was awesome, but beyond that, Spies vs. Mercs was one of the most interesting and innovative multiplayer gaming experiences I ever had, and I don't think I'll ever have another experience like that in a multiplayer online game because of just how different it was compared to everything that came after it. So yeah, Splinter Cell Pandora tomorrow. There you go. Nick, your turn.
My turn. So this next one was one of my first online games, one of my first introductions to this genre as a whole.
Ooh.
And
It's MMO and it's RuneScape, right?
no,
Sorry. I was just making a joke.
no, no. Actually, it's better.
It's No Man's Sky.
No, it is Diablo 2.
Oh hell yeah, brother!
Diablo 2 was one of the first like looter, like dungeon crawler type games I've ever played. One of the first online games I ever played, and one of the first games I ever played over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I to this day could go through this game front to back and know exactly what the fuck I'm doing. Every once in a while I'll get in the mood to play it. I do not play the redone version that they made. The
remaster is really weird. I played it.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
I play the original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, one of my definitely one of those games I played during my formative years, and like it influenced a lot of my different tastes. Like, I mean, like I love the original Borderlands because of games like these. Just anything that like I can loot and get like stuff like this, like play through a game and get loot and improve your character, things of that nature in general. I can trace back to this original game, and love the expansion packs for it. Absolutely love the art style of it. Didn't like 3 so much, and I'm not playing 4. So, yeah, definitely.
3 got really good after it released its first expansion.
3, yeah, Reaper of Souls really changed that game for better.
Mm-hmm. I've heard 4 got better after its first expansion, but I really just do not care to boot it back up. And I kind of am, you know what I'm eyeing right now? Like it's Diablo 4, you know, like the fucking meme where it's like looking at the girlfriend and then the girl walks by and then that one, the stock image meme, and he's like looking like, ooh, I'm looking at Path of Exile 2 right now like that, to be completely honest.
But yeah,
have you seen how good that game looks?
What's that?
Path of Exile 2. That's what I'm looking at
I've looked into it.
It looks so good.
I am tempted, but there's too many things on my plate right now. So yeah, but
one of them Silent Hill, right?
One of them is Silent Hill.
Yeah, let's go.
I grabbed because my one friend, or not, Jesus Christ. My one friend was telling me that he wanted to play, but it was too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Black Friday, I got it on sale. It was $30 a piece. Because I got a copy for me. I got a copy for my partner for their sister for Christmas because she wants to play it. And then I was like, well, if it's $30, like I can legit trade that game in right now and make more money on it than I spent.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I do want to play it. But yeah, no, Diablo 2 is one of my all-time favorites, and definitely can still see the ripple effects on that for me to this day. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. My next game, Beyond Good and Evil. So, is it the newest game on my list? I think so, actually. But yeah, in terms of gameplay, I don't think there's anything here that's totally revolutionary. It has a really interesting mix match of genres, which I do enjoy. But really for this game, I think a lot of my appreciation for it was the scenario and story kind of as it was laid out. It was kind of a interesting kind of grand Zelda-esque adventure that obviously was not made by Nintendo. It was made by Ubisoft. And they did a excellent job of kind of pulling the story together. And I think that they do a great job of kind of making you, well, it's skills that people could really use today, kind of question, media as it's kind of posed to you and kind of realizing that, there's twists on a lot of different things and that kind of things. I think that's one thing that's interesting with this story, even though it's it's not like a super adult kind of like deep story, but it really just has a good like feel good story. And I think as well, this game is one that I think hits on like some good emotions for me as well. I think you can range the range from happy to sad to scared to angry, for all sorts of different reasons. But it really just makes you think at the end of the day, and I think that's what I find important about it. That's kind of what I think is interesting about it. And while things on the surface of this game seem like they're very black and white,
Hmm.
this game is, I think the epitome of, things generally are black and white, maybe shades of gray. And you do see a lot of that in this game. So I really appreciate it. I played it at kind of a time that was just really meaningful. And so it's still one of my favorites. I play it back through regularly as well. So, and the music's fantastic. So also another thing that I love about this game. There's a couple songs in there that are just like top tier video game music for me. So
Hmm.
I love it. But yeah, Beyond Good and Evil, great game.
Cool.
Back to you.
Oh man, now we're getting to obscure ones. You ready?
Mhm.
All right. So next, probably the rhythm game I've spent the most amount of hours in my entire life, and what really kicked off my addiction to rhythm games forever, and that I still go back to from time to time. Stepmania.
Okay.
Stepmania is a game that I played on PC that is a DDR-like game that you can play with the arrow keys or other such things. People make their own custom songs for it, and you can also hook up like a real dance pad to the entire thing and whatnot. I played it with a dance pad. I played it with mouse and keyboard. I played it a lot with just the arrow keys on the keyboard. This was a game that I would like come home from school every day, and I'd play a couple songs, maybe play Stepmania online with my same friend that I met from the Pandora Tomorrow game I talked about. We would rock out for a few hours, and then I'd head to bed, and get ready for the next day. Through this, I found out a lot of like anime music outside of like the anime I was already watching on Toonami at the time. I also, through this, I found out a lot of video game music from games I hadn't played, such as like Suikoden and other such games. I experienced a lot of music from games and shows that I'd never watched, and I was still able to like just appreciate the music for what it was, which was just really good music. And also, I really, really enjoyed Stepmania. I played this game for like 10 plus years. It is still one of my rhythm game obsessions. I would love to go back and play more. And essentially, what this is it's just a DDR clone. But like people even imported like the original DDR songs. So when arcades started going out the wayside, and you weren't able to really go to arcades anymore and whatnot because they were all shutting down, or they packed up their rhythm game machines before there was like a resurgence, which was honestly pretty recently that the rhythm game resurgence happened in the bit of arcades that still exist in the United States, like the specialty ones. But anyway, I had a dance pad, a converter, like that would change it from PS2 to a USB, and I would just plug that into my computer, and I would play Stepmania in like my open room in my house because I could no longer go and play DDR with actual machines. So this was like my substitution for it, and I loved it. This is still something that I love to this very day. If I could set it back up, I would, but it has gotten a little bit harder over time to set up something like this. So yeah, but Stepmania is very important to me. Love that game.
Nice. On to me.
Yeah, on to you, Nick.
My second to last one is Super Metroid.
I figured that would be on your list somewhere.
Yeah. I think I gush about this game every time I get a chance to. But again, this is just another one of those really like one of those games that just got me into the genre. I mean, that it created Metroidvanias. I'm always always down to play a Metroidvania. But in terms of the styles of games that I like and just things that I come to expect from like a lot of the different stuff that I like, I can trace back to Super, and not only in terms of like the genre, but you know, the pacing of the game, the music of the game, the tone of all the places that you go into. Like, I think it really helped to kind of give me an appreciation for like for instance, music that is more atmospheric and tonal than it is just supposed to just sound good, if that makes sense. Like, I personally, for me, it might just be a me thing, but like I can't listen really to remixes of Metroid music. One, because I don't really think any of them are good. But two, I feel like they are so like the original tracks themselves are so perfect to the environments that you're playing in, that almost like if you are listening to the music without the accompanying visual aspects of the game and even playing the game, I feel like it's a lesser experience. Like I said, that just kind of helped me grow an appreciation for like when I'm playing a game to kind of dissect the different components and just see what, you know, kind of what makes it tick. But again, one of my all-time favorites, and I mean to this day, I mean not that I'll play Super Metroid probably at least once a year, just casually. If I'm not playing it straight through, I'll just load it up on like NSO or something, and just kind of rock through it. I did that I think when Metroid Dread was 2 years ago.
Yes,
I played through like everything. But yeah, love that game to pieces. So
Metroid Dread was 3 years ago.
was it 3 years ago?
Yeah, 2021.
I don't know. Time doesn't make any sense to me.
Time doesn't make any sense to anyone nowadays. I also feel like the time between 2020 and now just feels like a fever dream.
For sure.
Yeah. My last one is also a Super Nintendo game. So I have my last game is Earthbound on this list. So, interestingly, probably maybe I don't even know when I played this game for the first time. It was I didn't play it originally on the Super Nintendo. I recall that. This definitely was a game that I played when I mentioned earlier, you know, people picked up series or Nintendo games that they were not familiar with because of Smash. Earthbound was one of them. I remember playing Smash 64 and being like, who the fuck's this NES person? And yeah, that was kind of my first introduction to Earthbound. And I loved it. It's RPG. It's so quirky and strange. And it's just some of the stuff that they come up with is just random. But it's also it's a really in terms of its story, a really deep game and a very thoughtful and emotional game as well. And I really appreciate the themes that they do with this. I think that they did some very interesting things with how do I put this? Just kind of it's interesting because it's almost like it's a take on like American life in some ways, through like a critical lens. But I love this game a lot, and there's a lot of different reasons why. I think it's such a deeply enjoyable and memorable game. But yeah, no, it's one of my favorites. Also has great music, and honestly, I don't even know why, but I was thinking about playing it again the other day. But I'm like, I'm in the middle of too many RPGs. I can't do this. But yeah, no, I think that it's excellent. I love that this series has seen so much love over the more recent years. And I think one day I think we'll see Mother 3. I don't know what they'll call it here, Earthbound 2, who knows. But I think that we will get that full game release at some point, maybe when they go through and do like an actual like remake of it. I think this is a franchise I think that's due for it. But, yeah, but no, excellent. One of my favorite RPGs, and a lot different than probably most of the ones that people have played. So yeah, highly recommended. That's it.
So onward to me and Nick for our last choices, right?
Yeah.
All right. This one's huge for me. So this one was actually one of the first ones I put on my list. And I don't think I would be as interested in indie games if it wasn't for this game. Also, I'm fairly sure I have what were you saying?
Oh, nothing. I was gonna make a No Man's Sky joke.
Oh, okay. Anyway, also I'm pretty sure on my old 750 Ti computer that's out in storage somewhere, if it still exists. I have lost media of this game on that computer that a lot of people are looking for. So one day I'll pull that out and maybe share it with people, but I don't actually know if it's still there or if that computer even works anymore. But anyway, this game is named Yume Nikki, and it is perhaps one of the most important indie titles I have ever played. It is a game where you play as a girl who she has a dream diary, and in her dream diary, every time when she goes to bed, she has a dream. And the game is somewhat of a horror game, but not really. It's very uncanny. It's very unnerving. Everything about this game is steeped in mystery, kind of like what everything means. You kind of just do things and things happen in this game. It is a game where you don't really have a goal, but there is an ending to the game that you can get. The main point is to find these abilities, let's just say that are hidden throughout the dreams, but the game is presented like a dream. So everything is very nonsensical in the way that you go about finding things or finding your way around the world there. And each world is just cut up into different segments. So you might go into one world that starts by being like a murder scene or something happened, and then you might go inside of a building that then leads down into a stairwell that goes further and further down, and then that leads into like a labyrinth, and the labyrinth leads to different parts of the world, and everything just kind of leads to different places, and different things happen when you go different ways. It's very abstract. It's very weird. It's very different and out there. There is no particular goal that is ever told to you. There is nothing that is ever told for you to do in this game. It is just something that is presented to you, and once you start playing it, the entire point of the game is to have your own experience, and you can experience this game in many different ways. I downloaded this game when it first started showing up online. I've played many different versions of the game as things have changed over time, because there have been updates to this game, and it's even gotten a recent update where it got uploaded to Steam. You can play this game now on Steam. You no longer have to dig through fucking archived things on different places and whatnot to try to get it to run. This was one of the first games that really, really got me into indie games in the first place. And it also is so different from anything else. The way it presents itself and the way its gameplay is handled and the way everything about it is done, that it really made me want to find more obscure and weird indie games, or just things that are different in general. So like this led me to playing things like LSD Dream Emulator. This led me to playing other things like I've mentioned like Pony Island. I've mentioned things like Inscription. I've mentioned all these different kinds of games, weird games, Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, or things like Beginner's Guide, or all of these things. But I never would have gotten into indie games if it wasn't for this little gem, this little thing, and the amount of things that spun off from it. Many people made other like fan projects based off of Yume Nikki. So there's like a .flow game. There's all these other things, Yumi Tuki. There's all these other games that have come from it, and the same general idea is presented, where it's about having an experience more so than having a general game laid out in front of you where you know what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it, and it tells you what to do. There's nothing like that in this game whatsoever. It's all about you starting it up and just getting immersed in the world and finding what is around every corner and learning about stuff like that, and having your own experience in this game and seeing where things will lead you. It's a super important game to me. It always has been. and it probably always will be. And actually this year, because I always look up things to do with it to see if there's any other things, that's when I just found out recently that a lot of the old versions are actually missing online. The current internet no longer has them, and I think I have like 6 or 7 zip files on my old computer of like old versions of this game, because I downloaded it so often. Every time there was an update, I played it because I wanted to see what new stuff was added. And that may just sound like a normal thing to do in modern time, but this was from a developer that would just upload it randomly online, who had no actual presence, doesn't talk to people, just puts it on a site, random sites, and then fucks off again for 5-10 years without saying a single fucking word. This developer is so hidden, no one actually knows what they look like who made this game. No one knows if it's a male or a female or what have you. No one knows who created this game at all. And the mystery behind that really does add to the actual game. Like, people have had interviews through like email and stuff like that with the person, but no one knows who this person actually is, only the like moniker they go by online. And that sort of element of this game is also like really intriguing and interesting, because when you're playing this game, it does feel like it's a very personal game to whoever originally made it. And the fact that we know nothing about the person that originally made it really adds to the mystery of it as a whole. I highly recommend playing this if you ever have the ability to do so. It's on Steam. It runs on Steam Deck. I think they did a remake of it recently, and it's on Switch. Don't play that. Just please don't play that. That's all I say. It really ruined a lot of the game because it was a company getting a hold of the rights to it because something happened at one point in time which allowed them to do so. My recommendation is, if you can play this game, or you can't play this game. Sorry, my brain's not working at the moment because I'm like going into overdrive talking about this. But if you can't play this game, like in the game itself, someone has recreated a website that allows you to play both this game and all of the fan games, called the Yume Nikki Online Project. And I will link this to you guys because I do think this is super important and really fucking cool. I'll just put it in our like general chat. This allows you to play every single one of these games in your browser, and you can even play them online with people. This is super important and something I highly recommend someone does. Just start your own like private room, check it out if you ever have a chance. This game means a lot to me because of how it is art. It really did allow me to see indie games and games in general as an art form. And this is the first thing that made me take that step just, overall, and made me see something as more than just a video game. Highly recommend checking this out if you have the time. I tend to check this out around Halloween because it is kind of spooky, but it's more unnerving, like I said, than it is spooky. So check it out anytime. Please play this game. If you do nothing else from this podcast, or never listen to any of my suggestions ever, just play Yume Nikki. That's the only thing I ask you to do. Please. All right, I'm done. Go, Nick.
Well, mine kind of feels silly now.
Sorry.
Mine's not as heartfelt, but it's probably in terms of games that kind of formed my childhood. One of the one I have the fondest memories of playing. And it might, it's not the most,
This is everyone's different experience, Nick. This is your experience. Share your experience. I came up with this idea to allow people to better get to know us in general. So don't be
sure.
Something silly. Just tell them how you feel about something, you know?
Okay. So it's Roller Coaster Tycoon.
That's fucking awesome. That's awesome.
Fucking...
There's no reason to be like, this is silly. It's a fucking awesome game, dude.
I love Roller Coaster Tycoon.
We were just talking about that last week.
Hell yeah, we were. It's on Steam. It's on Switch now, isn't it? That's what you told me? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Such a phenomenal game. I played the bullshit out of this when I was younger on our original computer, our Compaq Presario. It was a clear plastic purple color. I remember that computer like the back of my hand. And it's just... I had a lot of fun, and playing it because I learned very quickly when I was younger that you should not trust me with thousands of dollars because I will quickly go into debt. But it was just a game that was really special to me because I would just sit there for hours and hours and hours and play and just kind of just build these theme parks and let my imagination kind of run wild. It was like the next logical step for a person like me because like when I was younger I played like a lot of Legos, which is just a lot of building and kind of creating your own space, and that Roller Coaster Tycoon was just more of that, I feel. But specifically 2, I played a lot of 2, and I just had a lot of fun just making like random batshit rides that they were always too extreme for the the people to ride, or just making like, well, if I were to make a theme park in real life, how would I do it? And even like just trying to like emulate the theme parks that I had been to myself. So it was just one of those games that for me just was always just on rotation. It was, if I was not playing Diablo, I was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon. If I was not playing Roller Coaster Tycoon or Diablo, I was probably asleep. So all-time favorite game, and I love it to pieces.
Yeah, great choice.
Great choice. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's all the games.
Yeah.
That's it. We've given you as much as we can.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up then.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for listening to us tonight. Don't forget to find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. All of our episodes are on game-crunch.com. And if you want to reach out to us, you can send us email at gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Brandon.
Hello.
Any final thoughts?
No, other than, like I said, please try playing Yume Nikki. It's very fun. Well, not fun. It's very interesting.
Oh,
It is fun, but like that's not the word I would use for it.
People are gonna go play and be like, this is fucking weird. This was fun. I'm just
that's why I had to pull it back and be like, not fun, interesting.
Thought-provoking. A
Very
thought-provoking
much so.
little jaunt.
I wouldn't call it a little jaunt, but it is a jaunt.
Nick?
No. Happy to be joining you guys for episode 600.
Woo, I'm so happy you joined.
You'll see me again in a very short time here as we discuss Game of the Year stuff.
Hell yeah.
Because I know you'll need a tiebreaker. But yeah, so I had a lot of fun.
Okay. And that's it. My name is Mike Anastasia. You can find me online, Clash of Penguin, there or on your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game on.
Started from the basement with mics in our hands, talking pixels and sprites across the lands. From Mario's jump to Master Chief's fight, bringing game news out of the night. We crossed consoles from the old to the new, debated graphics and stories so true, collecting moments like we collect gold rings. In the kingdom of games, we are kings. We've crossed consoles from the old to the new, debated graphics and stories so true, collecting moments like we collect gold rings. In the kingdom of games, we are kings. Game Crunch, yeah, celebrating 600 strong. Game on, yeah, talking games all night long. We faced the bosses and won the fight. Game Crunch, yeah, shining bright. Every episode brings a new delight. Speed runs reviewed under neon lights. From indie gems to AAA pride, we've traveled worlds far and wide. We've leveled up with every chat we've had, dishing out the good, the meh, and the bad. Listeners know when they hit play, they're in for a gaming holiday. Game Crunch, yeah, celebrating 600 strong. Game on, yeah, talking games all night long. We faced the bosses and won the fight. Game Crunch, yeah, shining bright.
I was gonna say briefly because unfortunately, Mike, you might have to cut this a little bit out. I don't think we have enough time to really delve into into the Game Awards stuff because it is like almost 8:30 at night. So unfortunately, that's kind of how the Game Awards fell with this episode. I would be more than happy to talk about that another day with you guys, but I personally, I don't think I'd be able to talk about that.
I think we could talk about it during our Game of the Year.
That's fine.
That might be a good time to do so.
That's fine. Okay. Sorry about that then.
No,
No. You're fine. I mean, I would be more than willing to stick around, but I know you got to go probably.
Yeah, I got some stuff I gotta take care of.
Yeah, I understand.
Totally reasonable because I would be deceased as well. So,
Yes.
Yeah. So, do you guys just want to wrap up now then?
Yeah, I think so. I think this was a very, very long episode. Sorry,
I
made
Yeah,
was
it was a good
good.
topic.
I
it was
made
good.
it more long than it should be.
No, I wasn't sure how long it was gonna take.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured worst case scenario we could like talk about that stuff. But no, it worked out perfectly that,
Yeah, I kind of was like, oh, we might run through these pretty fast, but
yeah,
no, we actually spent a pretty good amount of time on it.
which is good. No, very good.
Absolutely. I
That's
think
a lot.
that was very important.
Yeah.